All right, we are live as Lucas is doing a little bit of magic with the chairs. Awesome, does that look good? All right, Lucas is taller than me for the first time in his probably entire life.
Maybe, yeah. You
For
probably
sure.
got ahead early and stayed ahead.
There you go, might as well. All right, well, this is Lucas. My name is Sam. This is Phil. We are at our 15th episode of, I still don't think we have a name for this yet, but today we're going to be talking about wholesaling. We're going to do a little market update and kind of talk about wholesaling for beginners, what wholesaling is. We've got a quick little presentation for you guys and talk about how you can make an extra 5 to 10 grand a month through wholesaling, which is a great way to kind of dip your toe in the water. So if you guys are not aware, in this building, we have a flipping company that buys 150 to 200 houses a year called FasterHouse. We own over 300 rental doors. 250 of them are owned by Brian, myself, and Lucas. Phil owns 2. Woo! Check back in a couple of years, it'll be a lot higher than that. We have traditional brokers that's going to crush. They're probably be around 60 million in retail sales in their first year. We also have True Title, which is a local title company that is growing like crazy. We have Faster Funds Lending, which usually has about 10 million on the street in hard money loans. And then we have this FasterFreedom company that is a real estate education company. So we are dialed in to the local real estate industry and the national real estate industry as well. So we are going to do our quick little intro video to see how that goes. There we go. Intro video, here we come. Perfect.
Offer. Good enough.
Great. All right, let's get rocking back to the comment, where you're from, and comment if you have done wholesales or not, because we're going to talk about wholesale. If you got any questions about anything involved in real estate, we can answer those questions, but we're specifically talking about wholesaling today. So make sure if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not subscribed, to subscribe to our channel. If you're watching on Facebook, continue to watch there, please, but hop on over to YouTube and subscribe after the video. We want you to ask as many questions as possible, so definitely keep asking questions, and we will definitely answer them as we go. So, wow, Phil doesn't get his name on the screen. Maybe someday, Phil. That's true. Thank you, TJ's posting a.
Someday it will happen.
I don't know that there's a day that will happen, TJ. I don't know that there's a day that we will put Phil's name on the screen. I don't foresee that happening.
It might happen today, though.
It might happen today. Rachel might make that happen today.
Come to Fire Stuff tonight, you'll be on there.
Yep. Awesome. All righty. So, Lucas, tell us a little bit what is going on with sales and retail and everything right now in the market, in our market.
Yeah, I'll talk retail, and Phil will talk wholesale dispo, but retail is still crazy hot. We're selling houses first day, second day on the market for full price or above asking, as long as it's a quality rehab, priced right. If you guys are doing rehabs out there, price it competitively, it's going to sell for asking or over. This thing go live yesterday in Jardine Prairie, and I think we've had 10 showings already, so hopefully we get an offer on that soon. So dispo, wholesale, how's that going for you, Phil?
Yeah, it's strong right now. I think we sold a total of 9 doors last week. There was a package of 6 in there, but 4 total sales, which is pretty much our average, 3 to 4 per week. So
that's 9 houses. Right?
Yeah, 9 houses. Yeah, so it's moving. All areas are moving. We sold one in unincorporated Creve Coeur, got one up in Jennings, got a couple in South City. So yeah, they've been moving pretty hot, especially the past month or so.
Selling houses is easy right now, whether it's on the retail market or it's a wholesale or you're keeping this rental. That is easy. To get rid of the house is easy. It's a little harder right now to buy houses. If you guys have tuned into our other episodes, you've noticed that recently our leads have been down a little bit, but this last week we got up to 19. Our goal is 20 to 25 leads a week, so that went back up. So things are kind of starting to pick back up a little bit. I think with all this craziness going on out there, that it's potentially slowed us down for a little bit, but I think hopefully that things are going to pick back up and stay picked back up. So that is kind of the market update. What about the rentals, Lucas? Our rentals are still doing pretty good?
Yeah, so I think we're at, what, 98, 99% occupancy. We had 2 rentals go live this past week, and there was multiple applications on each one within the first, I don't know, day or 2. So we got approved rentals applicants for all of our houses, and rent collection's going great as well.
Awesome. All righty. So tonight we have, if you're local, make sure to come to our Buyers Club tonight. It starts at 6 o'clock. Doors open at Water's Edge Banquet Center, St. Peter's. But like many of you watching, you're not local, you're not watching live. We're going to give you a sneak peek kind of what we're talking about. I condensed our presentation tonight down to probably 5 or 6 slides, and we are going to show you those slides. So I will kind of dig into that, and we'll go from there. We'll show you guys a little bit of what we're going to be talking about tonight, talking about wholesaling and how you can make some extra money wholesaling in real estate. So here's a presentation. As this computer is extremely slow.
Who are those guys?
Who are those guys? So anyway, so this is the intro slide for our presentation tonight.
So wholesaling for sure doesn't have an E in it, correct? It's a tough one.
Wholesaling does have an E in it.
Yes, it does.
Oh,
you mean after the L?
After the L.
Okay. All right. So here's the presentation that we're going to be giving tonight. We're going to have Phil. You can see here in the middle. He's going to be talking as well. Dennis, all these buyers have been on. Dennis, Dusty, Philip, and Cam. So we are going to do a case study with each of those guys tonight, but we are going to, for you guys, we're going to give you a little sneak peek at the intro slides, and then also talk about Phil's case study, which is about reverse wholesaling. Can you explain what reverse wholesaling is real quick?
Yeah, so reverse wholesaling is basically finding the buyer first and then marketing for properties that they want, and you know that you can sell it to them. So we've got a couple of good examples that we've done with that in the past. One I'll be showing tonight, and yeah, so if you're a new wholesaler out there, market for buyers first, then go after the houses, because then you know you have a sale on the back end.
So when you wholesale, which I'll explain what wholesaling means here in a second, when you wholesale, you can either close on it and sell it or not close on it. A lot of people like to wholesale and not close on property, so a great way to do that is to have the buyer already picked out, so you know what you're going to make and what you need to buy for.
It's a great resource if you don't have the funds to close on a house.
So
find the buyer first and then get the deal done with them, and you can make some good money that way. You don't have to close on it.
For sure. So we're going to talk about wholesaling. Our case study is just going to be Phil, and then we're going to do an open Q&A. So what is wholesaling? So wholesaling, basically, in my opinion, is taking advantage of an inefficiency. That's why we're all here, is because there's an inefficiency in the real estate industry, and we are exploring that inefficiency and taking advantage of it. So quick example, Chris Clewine, who's a well-known local wholesaler, gave this example a couple years ago. He gave a presentation and it just made a ton of sense to me. So a quick example on watered down version of what wholesaling is. So him and his son go to garage sales every weekend, and they go to garage sales, and what his sons look for is cell phones. So the example, this Nokia cell phone right there.
How old is that phone?
That's old. Wait. So he got that phone for $2. So he went to the he went to the garage sale, and it was for sale for $2. So he got on his phone and looked it up that he could sell it online on eBay for $219. So
is that accurate though?
That is 100% accurate. I looked it up last night and snipped it. That's 100% accurate.
You have to pay $220 for that phone.
It's a vintage. So that's the point. Wow. So the person who owned this house and who was selling this phone could have easily looked that up and sold it on eBay, right? But they did not. So that's the inefficiency. He could have went and done that. The same with houses. A lot of people that we buy houses from and who wholesale houses, who we wholesale their houses, they could go and try to do it on their own, but they choose not to.
So eBay is kind of like the MLS listing
potentially, yeah. So that's what wholesaling is in a nutshell. We are taking somebody's house and they can go and try and sell it through the channels we do, but they decide not to. It's a free country. They can do whatever they want with their house, and they decide to sell it to us. But we are this back end. We are this eBay. We know people that will pay more. We can list on the MLS. We can rehab. We can do a bunch of things to create value. But this specific phone, he bought it for $2 and potentially could sell it for $220. So that's a great, just little example of buying something that nobody really wants, which is a lot of the houses we get, and then just knowing what you can do on the back end for it. Does that make sense, Lucas?
So
did you think that wasn't real? Because that is real.
I still think that's not real.
It's a buy it now. I can see it over on the right side. We'll see if it sells.
There you go. Well, it's going to sell for more than $2, I bet.
In general.
That's true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So that was a crazy. I was just thinking that you could buy it for 2 and even mark it up for 10. A little smaller example, but it's crazy what you can buy that phone and sell that phone for.
Yeah. So, another example is just like trading in your vehicle. You know, a lot of people can go and sell their nice vehicle. If they're buying a new car, sell their old car, you know, retail and get a lot better price, but they choose the ease of trading it in at the same time they're buying a new one, and we're kind of that easy button as well.
Awesome. So if you have any questions about wholesaling, put them in the comment section. Please like and share this video. We're going to really dig a little bit more into how to reverse wholesale, which is a great way to make sure you are going to spend $0. You're never going to have to close on the property if you reverse wholesale properly, which not everybody has funds to close on property. So this is a great way to do it with no money out of pocket. And then also put in the comments, if you've done a wholesale, what's your biggest wholesale? So we'll probably maybe go around at the end and tell you what our biggest wholesales were. So if you've done a wholesale, if you've made $1,000, if you made $10,000 or $20,000, let us know what your biggest wholesale is in the comments, and we'll talk about it. Maybe give us some feedback on it. So who should wholesale? So wholesalers should wholesale, right? But they're not the only ones that can wholesale. I know a ton of people that rehab 45 houses a year, but once you're doing that, you get in front of a bunch of deals that you maybe don't want to rehab yourself. But if you learn how to wholesale properly, you can sell those. If you're working on 2 projects and somebody brings you another deal of a house that is as is, that needs a bunch of work, and you don't want to add a 3rd project to your tool belt, don't just throw that away. You can wholesale it and make an extra $5,000 to $10,000. So rehabbers need to do it. Landlords, if you're just looking to add rentals, you'll probably come across properties that don't work as rentals. But what you need to learn how to do is to wholesale them so you can make a couple extra money. So those are kind of the 3 wings of real estate: wholesalers, rehabbers, and landlords. And wholesalers are the one that can do all 3. Some rehabbers may never want to own rentals, so they can't do the landlord part, but they can wholesale. And some landlords may never want to rehab. They may just want to buy turnkey or just rehab their current rentals, and that's it. And they can still wholesale. So wholesaling can broaden your horizons where you can make a ton of extra money.
Yeah, we kind of started out as landlords and rehabbers 5-6 years ago. Didn't even know what wholesaling was, but we bought a house. We bought it so good that we're going to rehab. One of our family and friends was like, I'll pay 10 grand more than what you just paid that house to rehab it myself. And we're like, why wouldn't we do that? We'll make a quick 10 grand and move on and find the next rehab project. So we kind of fell into wholesaling, which is really cool. And like Sam said, don't let those ones that you don't want to rehab or don't want to keep in the rental portfolio go to waste. Figure out a way to monetize those deals.
So went from not knowing what wholesaling is to how many wholesales do we do a year now?
75% of what our total sales are. So that could be
100 to 130
yeah,
wholesales a year now. So we do a lot of wholesaling. So let's dig into Phil's example on reverse wholesaling, and then we will kick the screen back out and let you see our shining faces, and we will answer any questions and just talk a little bit more about wholesaling. These guys want to talk about what's happening in the sports world. I don't think we'll get into that, but you never know. We got some extra time. So here's Phil.
Look at that knucklehead.
Phil has a wife, Trina, and 2 kiddos. He's wholesaled over 150 houses in the last year. He owns 2 rentals, and he is better at golfing than you.
I'm humble about that.
Just
Sam's the one that is.
Just ask Sam, it should say.
Yeah, just ask him. So
I'd love to beat Sam's ass every time we play, but I am humble. It's a fun game.
Yeah, that sounded super humble, didn't it, guys? It sounded super humble. He's so humble about golfing. All right, so that's Phil. That's our little case study for today. Look at those trapezius muscles.
Nice. That's back when Phil was in his peak hockey playing days.
Peak physical condition.
Yeah.
Mohawk.
Streamlined and just skating down the ice. And then he looks like a really, really cool, not D-bag there with that hat backwards at the bottom. So, all right, so we're gonna talk about Andover, which is a property that we're going to go over these questions. Just wanted you to see them. So how do we get the lead? We're going to talk about, was there competition on the deal, how the negotiations go, and lessons learned. I'm going to pull up some pictures here. So Phil, why don't you kind of go through those questions that I pulled the pictures and show them the house.
Yeah, so how did we get the lead? So Sam actually called me, said, hey, I got a lead on a house. I don't have time to go to it. Go check it out. See if we have any buyers for it, because I don't have it under contract yet, but I think it's a nice house. The comps are a little all over the place, so let's see what we can do with it. So I went in there. I think the lead came from one of our wholesale guys. He's a property manager as well, so he comes across some wholesale deals all the time. Likes to hit the easy button with Sam, and Sam's like, hey, go in there. So we get there. It's a beautiful house here over by Unsel in Normandy here. It probably needed about 15, 20 grand, I think.
Pretty typical though, just clean, but just outdated.
Super clean house, outdated. Would make a great rental in a great area. The subdivision, I think it's Pasadena Hills, is that
That's
correct?
one of the nice ones over there.
Yeah. So it's a great little house, just needs a little updating, would be great for a great rental for a teacher or something along those lines for also right there. Or it would make a good flip. So multiple exit strategies there. Second question, what was the second question?
Was there any competition on the deal? Which I can answer that. No, there wasn't. So this is a local wholesaler who I bought several houses from. He kind of gives me first shot at them. I was busy on this one, so he sent it to me. It's in an interesting area. It's a really nice neighborhood, but there's rough neighborhoods around it. I didn't have time to even go look at it, so I said I'll go look at it. I sent Phil out there. I was like, this is just a little bit unknown of an area. We don't want to close on this, so. It was on lockbox, so send a couple really good buyers to it and see if they're willing to buy it. And then he did that, and then we got a price on it that the buyer was willing to pay, and then I just negotiated backwards with the person I bought the house from. So I think about what he was asking is what we ended up selling it for, but I just basically negotiated down 10 or 12 grand.
And there's your profit. Right
there's
there.
Our spread.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why it was reverse wholesale. We could have closed if we wanted to. We actually obviously have the funds. Not everybody does, but we could have, but we did not. We ended up just sending a couple of people out there just because it's a little bit more of a risky deal, and we didn't really want to close on it. So we made sure we had an end buyer. Bless you, Rachel. We wanted to make sure we had an end buyer in the wings before we even actually got it under contract. So we sold it before we even got it under contract to purchase. That's kind of reverse wholesale.
That is, yeah. And to clarify, we sent one buyer in there because I knew one buyer that was very hungry for a rental at that time. He wanted a little bit of a higher end rental, and he was talking to me, communicating with me just a few days before, and he came top of mind, and I was like, this would be great. So sent him a price of where thought we would want to be, and how the negotiation go on my end, and there really was none. He accepted what we offered right there, and it was right there. So got it sold. Sam did his part on the negotiation on the back end, and we made, I think, 12 grand just within a few hours, I think it was.
Yeah, so this is kind of to drive home the point Phil made a little bit ago is you need to have your buyers in place first to wholesale, and we knew who this would go to. So it's important right when you're getting started to definitely get your buyers figured out, and which is Phil's advice. The first one was build a buyers list. So this is important. So kind of give a couple tools and tips of how you build a buyers list, because it's extremely important to have a good, strong buyers list.
It is too, and the typical wholesaler out there, when you're new, you're going after quantity. I don't recommend that. Eventually you want to have a high quantity of quality buyers. Off the start, you want quality buyers. You don't want the quantity because your eyes will be all over those. You want to put yourself in front of good buyers. The way to build those buyers, go to the local RIAs, go to Buyers Club, see who's buying. Go on the MLS and on the tax records, do some searches that way for LLCs that are buying in specific areas that you might be sending your mailers to. Another great way is look at the Facebook boards. People are marketing their properties out there, and buyers are dropping their email addresses and everything there, and that is a valuable tool. So don't just scroll past those. Those email addresses are great. Do some research on them, ask them out to coffee, do some networking with them. I sell my houses to the investors that are hungry to buy. And that is, I don't want to sound like I'm the man of the hour on that, but if I know that you're hungry to buy a house, it's just so much easier to hit the easy button there, and you'll make a lot of money that way quick.
And to me, quality over quantity is important, especially when you're starting out, because you're not closing on these deals. You're selling that contract, so you have to be selling it to someone you trust, and that's a quality buyer, because they have to perform. And if they don't perform, you look crappy to the seller, and you're responsible. So that's another reason quality over quantity is important.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you, Anita, for that explanation that Luke didn't like at first, but it came together on the cell phone. So if you're tuning in now, we gave a great little simple explanation of what wholesaling is and how to, and just a kind of simple version that didn't have houses. All right, so best wholesale deal that Scott did was he tied up a deal of property in Webster Groves for $30,000. and double closed it for 80, made $50,000. And the rehabber popped the top and threw on the second floor and sold it for around 300. So that's a great example of a deal that he bought, probably looks like enough meat on the bone for the actual rehabber. So he didn't really do anything and made $50,000.
Yeah, that's great. A normal wholesale field for us is probably like that $10,000 to $15,000 range. But those $50,000 ones are out there. So you just got to find them. For people who are watching who think that's not real, he made 50 grand in one day, and that's possible.
But that happens. We do that every once in a while.
That's a huge, that's a great point too. So there's some quality points to Scott's profit there. The biggest one is he saw the opportunity to market at a higher dollar amount because he had a specific buyer in mind that knew they were going to pop top it. That they weren't going to keep the original house. So they knew that the ARV was going to jump because they were going to pop top it, put a second floor on there, put an extra bed and bath in there, whatever they needed to do to get the highest value out of that. And that is exactly why he made 50 grand on that deal.
Look at that. That was 01, Scott. That's been a minute, man.
It has, yeah. I saw a 297 for a pop top in Webster. I was like, man, maybe I should move to Webster. But that same house is probably worth 500 something now.
Yeah, probably at least. So that's a great point to make. So I know Scott's done quite a few things in the industry. He came in the office. I talked to him a couple weeks ago. So it's just another tool in your belt. If you're wanting to potentially get into real estate full-time, wholesaling is a great way to kind of dip your toe in the water. You can do that with a full-time job. You can spend 5-10 hours a week working on your networking, trying to build a buyer's list and build a list of properties that you can just wholesale. If you can make $5,000 to $10,000 on each wholesale and wholesale 5 to 6 a year, that is a great source of extra money, and then they'll introduce you to people if you want to build rentals or become a rehabber. So wholesaling is a great way to just kind of dip your toes in the water. But I do the most experienced rehabbers through real estate investors I know still wholesale. So it's something that kind of sticks with you because it's a great way to kind of get fast cash.
Yeah, Scott said that was actually sold to his cousin. So Scott made 50 grand off his cousin. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm just kidding. Good work, Scott.
Especially if he was able to turn around and make 50 or 60 himself. So yeah. that is Scott had the opportunity to rehab that himself or end up actually wholesaling out and making 50 grand. So that's a great example. Is there any wholesales that we've done recently that have been pretty good to kind of stick out in your mind?
Well, so there's a couple wholesales, wholesale and a wholesale. I'll go through. The first wholesale we bought for 5 grand because the seller negotiated us down ourselves. I think the original offer was 18 grand.
Yeah, 15, 18.
Something like that. And he was like, no, that's not worth that. I'm not going to screw you guys over for that. And he ended up selling it to our acquisition guy for $5,000. We turned around. This is another one that took hours to sell because we knew it was a good deal. We sold it for $39,900 within 24 hours, I think. So 35 grand right there on a house that someone they wanted out of it. They wanted to hit the easy button. They wanted to trade in their house so that they can just get out from underneath it. We found a hungry rehabber that we know that loves the area there. He's done a good job, and he's going to make a lot of money on it too.
Yeah, they're going to put 30 in and sell it for 115.
115. Yeah, it was a great house. It just needed a little bit of work, and we were there to help provide the service for both the investor on the back end and the seller on the front end. So. The second one was a wholesale that we actually sold this week.
I want to talk about wholesale real quick.
Just a wholesale is basically a house that is pretty much ready, or we know that it could go to, there's multiple exit transactions. It could be an investor, or it could be owner occupant, or even a builder in this case, in this scenario here. So multiple strategies for us to sell on the back end. So what we did was we put it on the MLS, so that also markets to retail buyers and investors. So that's where
this one we bought and we closed on it, right?
Closed on it. Yeah. We saw that there was potential for a huge spread, and it came to fruition. That huge spread was incredible. It's a house that we got in a really good area, Ladue. I think we paid $290 for it. 280 for it. Our acquisition guy did a great job of staying in front of the seller and finding the hot buttons for him on kind of what he wanted to do with the property. He just wanted to get rid of it. And our acquisition guy, Philip, did an amazing job of getting a good price on it and a fair price of what the seller wanted. We went back, did some research on it, and sold this thing for $390,000 this past week. So over $100,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah, over $100,000 there.
So what I think we did well, first of all, our acquisition guy on this was Phil Benson, and he had a lot of interest from builders at maybe like the low 300s, and they wanted to double close with us, and we would have had a nice wholesale in like the low 300s. But I think everybody, especially Philip, just kind of believed in this deal and knew there was more money to be made on the back end, and that just gives us more flexibility, because we were able to close on a property like that and then just list it on the MLS.
Yeah,
for sure. So if somebody is new to wholesaling, done 1 or 2 deals, or never wholesaled before, which wholesaling, if you don't know, is buying or getting a property under contract and selling that contract. You either close on it or you don't have to close. So basically, you're making the spread of what someone is willing to sell the property for and what you can actually sell for on to a landlord or a rehabber. So if somebody's just getting involved in wholesaling, Lucas, what's a couple things they can do right away? They decide after watching this video, I think I want to make an extra $50,000 a year wholesaling real estate. What would the first few steps that they could take to kind of get immersed in the industry, no matter what market they're in?
Ooh, just immersed in the industry. So kind of before you're doing your first deal.
Yeah, just what do they do if they've never done a wholesale deal? And
first of all, I'll come out to the Faster House Buyers Club tonight if you're local in the St. Peter's Water's Edge Banquet Center. We're going to talk for an hour and a half about it and have some drinks afterwards on Phil and Sam here. So I appreciate that, guys. So go to your local RIAs. I know we have ours in St. Louis area, Faster House Buyers Club, but any other RIAs in your market, real estate investment clubs, get out there, get talking to people, start networking. But to get your first deal, I would probably start driving for dollars. I think that's probably the most least expensive, if not free, way to find deals and come across motivated sellers. So driving for dollars would be just driving around neighborhoods where you would like to invest and look for houses that are run down or have some long grass or bushes growing over the house, and figuring out a way to contact those sellers and call them and tell them you want to buy your house.
For sure. Yeah, that's great. So getting immersed in the industry is huge. Going to the local RIAs, no matter what market you're in, they have them. I know with all this COVID stuff going on, they may be canceled in a month or 2, but whether you're in Nashville, anywhere in Florida, over on any coast in the Midwest there, if you have a decent sized town, there are local meetups. So just go to Google local real estate meetups, go to Meetup, the actual site where they host them. There's some on there. You can go to local Facebook groups and type in, or just ask on the local Facebook real estate investing groups. There are a ton of them in your area. There's probably 10 in whatever city you're in. So just go there and just get your name out there. Tell people that you're wanting to get involved in real estate. So same question to you, Phil. If somebody's just getting involved in wholesaling, they've never done a deal before, how would you start the process? How should they start the process?
Yeah, so I'm going to go back to, I'm going to be a broken record here, but I think the biggest thing is to market for buyers. Find yourself good buyers in your local area that you are marketing in. So if you send out mailers, you do driving for dollars.
Tell us where Amelia Island is, whoever.
It's outside. I think that's outside of Jacksonville, right? Yeah, I think that's where Brian, Debbie Schroeder is going this week.
That probably is Brian.
Yeah.
Hi, Brian. All right, Philly, keep going.
So so buyers, market for your buyers. And I want to reiterate too, we are a buyer too in St. Louis. If you're a wholesaler out there and you want a serious buyer, our guys will buy houses. We like to rehab houses as well. And if you're looking for a deal, we did a deal this week with a first-time wholesaler as well off of Laclede. And he made a really nice amount of money on his deal, and we don't care how much you make.
How much money he spent on marketing, how much money he made?
I don't know.
This is the guy's first, or
I believe it's a first deal. So this is changed a little bit. So it's not necessarily how it actually went, but Cam, one of our buyers, bought a house from a wholesaler this week in Maplewood. And the wholesaler had it under, I believe, at 55 or 57 grand, and we ended up buying from him at 82 because the numbers make sense on both sides. We don't care how much that wholesaler makes. We want a deal, and we'll buy that deal. So just to reiterate, there's serious buyers out there that buy. There's companies like us all over the United States, here in Missouri, and then there's also serious buyers. So find those buyers. That's the biggest part that I can recommend off the start.
So that's a great point that we didn't even really talk about is we talked a little bit about it. You can make 5 to 10 grand, or you can make a big lick like Scott did. You can make 50, 60 grand on a property without even owning it. And the person that buys the property from you, most of the time, 90% of the time, probably is a good, strong buyer, an investor, and they don't care how much money you make. They're not going to be worried that you make 50 grand, because if the numbers work for them, they'll buy it. So that is it's unlimited potential profit on wholesaling, and nobody cares how much you make for the most part. So that's a huge part of it. So if you're local, I know a lot of people watching are not local, but if you're local, make sure to come to the Water's Edge Banquet Center tonight. We got a question from Jill. What is the best way to stay in communication with wholesalers and also staying top of their mind, in front of their, because wholesalers like you have a million people tugging at your sleeve. And if you're getting new in the industry and you want to wholesale or buy properties, you need to be the first one that come across. So how do people stay top of your mind?
Yeah,
a little bitty mind.
A little bitty peanut mind. No, but Joe, I remember you from last month, man, and I remember our conversation that we had. You just trying to get back into the game here. So what you are doing is exactly right. And asking questions and these things. I've also got an email or text from you as well. I kind of know you're hungry for properties right now, and you are top of mind, man. And that is the way to do it. Just continue to reach out to me. Like I said, I want people hungry for properties that we are selling. If you just sign up for our list and never communicate with me, I'm not going to sell anything to you. So if that, it goes back to the original point of what we said. We were looking for quality buyers, not quantity. I have thousands of people on our list, but there's only 100 to 200 of them that are quality, hungry right now buying. So Joe, you're doing awesome, man. We're going to get a deal done soon.
Awesome. All right. So my advice, which nobody asked me.
Yeah, what's your advice?
Yeah,
for someone looking to get started in wholesaling?
I have a peanut mind. He's got like a grain of salt.
I'm fine with that. All right. So my advice would be is tell people. Most people that get involved in real estate, want to get involved in real estate, don't tell anybody. It sounds simple, but you need to tell people that you want to buy houses. I promise you, if you tell all your friends and family that you're looking to get involved in real estate and you buy houses as is, and you explain what you want, what you're looking for, you explain your avatar. If you say, I'm looking for houses that are worth $500,000 to $300,000 that need a little bit of work in this part of town, and you tell your friends, you tell your family, you put it on Facebook once or twice a month, not every single day, and let people know that potentially, and then you put it on those Facebook groups, and then you go to these local RIAs. I promise you, if you do that for 6 months, you will buy at least one property, if not more. You could, if you really get traction and really get in front of the right people, you could buy 5 in 6 months. But I promise you, if you tell people that you are looking to get involved in real estate on Facebook and local meetups, and tell family and friends, I promise you will come across deals. You'd be surprised. Your grandma's cousin just knew somebody that just moved out of their house into a senior care facility, or that just got transferred, something like that off the wall that you have no idea. You're just getting your name out there. It's kind of like that tree or whatever, that you just, more people that know about you, know you want to buy, the more that you will actually buy. I promise. If you just want to do it, you think it's going to happen, that's not going to happen. Just sit on your couch hoping to come across deals.
You got it. Just like that tree, guys.
You don't like the trees?
Yeah,
the trees start. I guess not all trees. Some trees get bigger at the top. Some get skinnier and go down, right?
That's good. Can I add one more thing to that? So when you reverse wholesaling, which is kind of the way that we think y'all should start out, you don't have to be very good at analyzing deals, because you know what the end buyer or the person you're wholesaling to is going to pay for that, and then you subtract off your wholesale fee, and that's what you got to buy it for. But if you don't have that buyer list built up, which we suggest you do, you're going to have to get good at analyzing deals. So you know that you're going to buy it at a point where someone else is going to buy it for higher than you. So that's a get good at analyzing deals. Go on appointments, do calculate rehabs, calculate ARVs, and get good at analyzing deals.
Yeah, just immerse yourself in the industry, and if it's something that you want to get, you got to work for it. It can be, you can get some easy deals. You can make a lot of money very easily, but it also takes some time and effort. So just get involved. Any final thoughts for everybody about wholesaling that's want to get involved?
Yeah, real quick. Ethics in wholesaling. Sometimes wholesalers get a little stigma behind them that they're shady. My biggest suggestion, and what we preach here, and I know our acquisition guys do the same thing, is be upfront and honest. Do not put yourself in a hole that you can't get yourself out of, which we've seen with, and we've dealt with wholesalers in the past that have done that. So whether it's on the acquisition side with the seller, or if it's with the buyer on the back end, be as honest as you can with them. run them around and get yourself caught in a web of lies. That's where we get the bad karma from. And our goal is to help provide a service, just like the used car thing. That's a perfect example. It's an efficiency, and it's something that we're here to provide a seller so they can get out of the property as quickly and as happy as they can.
Awesome. All right, so we're done talking about wholesaling. We're going to talk quickly about something that I like a lot better than wholesaling, is building wealth through rental properties. Philip is on his way to doing it. We are doing it. Luce and I have built a $10 million portfolio in the past 5-ish years, a little over 5-ish years. 115 doors plus a bunch of storage units. So we're going to talk quickly about that. So definitely ask questions about growing rentals if you have any, but I'm going to talk quickly about that. So we have built, we've just refinanced $880,000 out of our rental portfolio. We still are sitting probably between $2 and $3 million in equity. We are grossing close to $100,000 a month in rent collection. So there's a ton of really amazing, powerful things that can happen through owning rentals. And that is kind of our passion and our cause behind FasterFreedom. So head over to FasterFreedom.com to find out a little bit more about how we help other people grow wealth through owning rental properties. We do boot camps and we do live webinars weekly. So go check those out as well. And we just are launching www.burrcourse.com. That's 4 R's, so BRRRR course.com, where we just put in a free course that teaches you about buying rental properties with no money out of your own pocket. We also bought the 3 R's and the 5 R's. So if you screw up your R's, that's okay. It should still take you there. But it is a course where Lucas, myself, and Brian are taking you through the BRRRR strategy and how to grow rentals without using your own money. We have a $10 million rental portfolio, and I don't think certain deals we've used our own money, certain deals we haven't. We've got money. Overall, we're probably about $0 out of our pocket in a $10 million rental portfolio, which sounds crazy, sounds too good to be true, but it's not. So definitely head to burrcourse.com, where we'll teach you how to do that. If we had that course before we got started, you're going to have more knowledge than we had when we got started just by going through that course.
Yeah, just to clarify, that's a free course.
Correct. It's free. So go there, take the course. It's probably going to take, probably 3 to 5 hours to get through. There's a bunch of lessons on there. So it's legit. There's a bunch of content in there. So go there, check it out, share that with your friends, and also head over to our YouTube channel. If you're watching our YouTube channel, great, subscribe. If you're not watching on Facebook, go to YouTube. FasterFreedom is our name. Go on there, subscribe. We give away a bunch of content. We probably give away too much. We do 3 videos a week. This is one of them, and we just give. We want to help others achieve financial freedom through real estate. And eventually they'll come back to us. Eventually we'll buy a deal from you, sell a deal to us, or hopefully you can take one of our courses or something along those lines. So we are in the currently giving stage. So head over to burrcourse.com and check out our YouTube channel. So see you next week at 11:30. Hopefully we will have another great topic to talk about. Don't know what it is yet, but we'll get it out there. And we will see you next time. Bye.